How's it going? Lay it down. Right, so it is Wednesday the 22nd of April. And it's my birthday! Yes, I'm in quarantine. Yes, I'm in lockdown, but it's still my birthday and I am feeling nostalgic. So as you've probably guessed from the title, we're going to be going through my car history. I've been scouring my archives and Google Photos. I've swapped phone from phone since I was 17, but I haven't managed to get all the vehicles, but we're going to give you a good insight of some of the cars that I have owned. Now, if you are feeling kind and want to give me a birthday subscribe and like, then I'll be very grateful. But let's make a brew, let's go upstairs and let's get on with my car history. By the way, I am fully expecting my subscribers and all my viewers to go in hard on this. I want you to roast these cars, and I also want you in the comments below to let me know if you was to have one of my cars, which one would it be? I think I know which one it's going to be, but you might surprise me. I also want to know your lot's car history, so let me know in the comments below. I want to know what you've had, what sequence, and what you'd change and what you wouldn't. And by the way, I might roast you for it. Hopefully this will all be in time order. I'll try and let you know what age it was I owned the vehicle. I can't remember everything. As I said, there is some vehicles missing, and I think what we'll do is we'll have a bit of a play about. I'll roast myself. Mind the hair, by the way, as well. I'm feeling lazy today. And then I'll tell you some good things about owning that car, some bad things, and some funny stories. So let's get on with the video. We'll move on to the first car. So I bought this before I turned 17. I think I was 15 and a half, maybe 16. Did little jobs with it, I modified it in my garage with my dad, and there was a guy that lived over the road from me called Andrew Wrigglesworth, and he was mini mad. Probably guess what car it is by now. He owned loads of minis and he was the most clued up bloke I've ever met for minis, so props to Andrew. Yeah, so we just used to tinker on the drive, modified it. It's a 1996 1.3 single point injection Mini Equinox. The Mini Equinox, it was a limited edition run. They only did them in silver, black and purple. The Equinox was denoted by the interior. It had really nice interior and Equinox badges on the exterior. I don't have a photo of when I first picked it up. I've lost so many photos over years. It might be on my old Mac, but I don't have the time to fire that up because it takes years. The first thing I did was found someone to spray the roof black. So the roof went black. The outside decals that denotes it was an Equinox were originally purple, and I got them custom made, so they were all black. I think next I had the arches touched up. Me, my dad and Andrew fitted the front spotlights, then got mini lights, and then I passed my test, and this was my first car. Although I'm 6'6", this was my first car and my first bit of freedom. I absolutely loved this car. If I won the lottery, I'd track it down and buy it back tomorrow. So I started to outgrow the car. I was doing a lot of miles in it, and I realised that mini wasn't the best for a 6'6" bloke, and my mum actually bought it and it stayed in the family. My mum and dad got married with this car, so yeah, it resides a lot of good feelings for me. Funniest story of this car was probably when me and my mates were just sat around and we thought, oh, should we go to McDonald's? And I was like, yeah, I'll drive. Obviously just passed the test and was willing and wearing, so we was like 4-man deep. And when I mean 4-man deep, I mean 4 adult sized people in a mini. The thing was bogged down, but we still managed to beat a Corsa VXR. If you were there, you were there. Yeah, I love that car. It was a great car and I'd recommend it to everyone. Minis definitely hold a special place in my heart. A couple of my other mates had minis and we just used to cruise around in our minis, being cool. Did London to Brighton in it. Loads of mini shows. I'd love to get hold of another mini and rebuild it. As I said, Andrew that lived over the road from me was a massive help. Really great guy. Unfortunately, the world lost Andrew, and I'd love to build another mini at one point in my life and just go all out with specialist components. Okay, moving on next. I can't find a photo of the car, but basically I moved on from the Mini and I went to a 1.6 Mark IV Golf. The Golf was completely standard when I got it. First thing I did was dropped it, smoothed the bumpers with the help of my friends, Giancarlo and Dale. I had loads of good times in that car. Loads of shows. It was my first modified car. Although it was only a 1.6, it stuck to the road like anything, handled really well, and I loved that car. It was a real good car. It's a shame we don't have any photos of it. I'm going to try and dig some up and get them on my Insta. Okay, so after the Mark IV Golf, I moved to this thing. Now this was just a 320 BMW, and to be honest, I was 17, 18 at the time, and I was just like, oh, I want a BMW, I want a 320 and all this, and I just bought that car. I didn't really do much to it, serviced it, stuff like that, stuck some rotors on it and thought I was badass in the snow, trying to get the rear end out, basically. It was a good car, I suppose. It's not one of my favourite, but, you know, it was quite a nice car to own at 17, 18, I suppose. Moving swiftly on. Next up was my Mark 1 Golf. I bloody love this car. Now this photo was the photo when I first picked it up. As you can see, yellow headlights, quite ratty, roof rat, banded steelies and just stuff like that. And it wasn't my cup of tea, but I just wanted a Mark 1 Golf. It just oozed my character at the time. When I picked that car up, half of it was in a box. You had to get into the car through the boot. It was my first car where I actually tinkered it up myself, because I think my parents thought I was a bit crazy. I'd just gone from like a BMW to this car that was literally in a box. I made it my own. I got the crosshair front lights, put some ATS cups on it, changed the splitter, got it running how it should. It was a little 1.4 in it. It ended its life as a 1.8 turbo. It was just a really cool car. I just really enjoyed everything about that. It was slow, but I loved it. And I remember taking it to AKS Tuning at the time, and I had some money saved up, and I went to AKS Tuning in Oakley, so shouts out to them. And I remember speaking to Alistair, and I was just like a 17, 18-year-old kid that had a Mark 1 Golf, and I was like, I really wanted to put a 1.8 turbo in it. And he priced it up for me and everything like that. And I remember kind of pitting it off, because I was working like 7 days a week, saving up, and my goal was the 1.8 turbo it. And then the clutch kept coming through the bulkhead to the point where it was pretty much undrivable. And at the time, that was a massive thing to me. I didn't have a plethora of knowledge and stuff like that. Me working so many hours, I just sold the car, and that was one of my biggest regrets. I then saw it with a 1.8 turbo in it. One of those moments, but I love that car. It was a great car. So then from the Mark 1 Golf campaign, I went to the Mark 4 Golf GTI. Now, this car, when I first got it, I had it in my head that I wanted to make it a sleeper. So like, I think the first thing I did was a full turbo back exhaust. And on the Mark 4 GTIs, it's got the tailpipes that are hidden behind the bumper that just point at the floor. I bought one of them. I then got it remapped by one of my friends. I ordered an induction kit for it that was meant to be silver, and it was like this horrible blue colour. I think forged recirc valve, and that was about it. Map. I think I upgraded the brakes, full exhaust, recirc valve, and brake upgrade. Yeah, that was about it. I remember saving up for coilovers and wheels and stuff like that. That car was savage, by the way. That was a really underrated car. That was a quick car. I remember heading to some meets, and on the motorways and stuff, it was quick. But yeah, I ended up hitting it in a ditch. Basically, this guy cut one of my mates off, and I was like, rah, 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 proper road rage. Steam past everyone. My mate's flashing me because he lived on that road and he knew that road. And yeah, I stuck in a ditch. Probably over 100 miles an hour. So yeah, lucky to be here probably. After that, it all went downhill. I didn't have a car for a bit. I was like lift sharing to work and things like that. I think I even borrowed my mum's Ford KA to get to work. And then I saved up enough money to buy this bad boy. Now, it didn't look like that when I bought it. I've lost loads of photos of this car, but this was probably my first proper horsepower car, and something that I actually felt a bit like a little boy with it. The S14A was probably the first car where I actually had to be careful, you know. It taught me a lot, especially after the Golf and wrapping that around the tree. Definitely had to be careful with that car. It was a savage car. As far as making it my own, changed the front end, got it sprayed. It was a full Kuki front end, genuine Kuki splitter from Japan. Obviously, it's got the Greddy stoppers on there that were savage. Multiple clutches, multiple gearbox, multiple prop shafts. It costs a lot to run, I'm not gonna lie. So this is probably one of my favourite and one of my least favourite cars, just because of the fact it was always breaking. I remember I actually sold the car. I had a deposit on the car. One of my friends had a 200 SX as well, Chris. Shout out to Chris. And I went to a car meet, and there was a bloke that was trying to do some nasty ass burnout in a Corsa B probably, or a Corsa C. I was like, that's not a burnout, this is a burnout. Lit the back wheels up and blew the gearbox out. So the bloke that bought it, Matlock, was proper understanding. I got it fixed and sold it to him for the same price that we agreed. But yeah, that was a nail in the coffin for that car, I think. After that, I've not got a photo of it, but I had a Corsa B with a 2 litre 8 valve engine in it. It was on Ronald turbos, slammed on the floor, proper naughty chavmobile, you know what I'm saying? But I tell you what, I love that car. I literally ragged it everywhere, and it was one of those cars where I wanted to see if I could blow it up. I tell you what, beep, didn't blow up. Until one day it finally did, where I didn't check the oil for probably about 6 months, and it blew up. But yeah, that was a really fun little car to be fair, and I'm pretty gutted I ain't got a photo of it because you definitely would have rinsed that car. It was like a baby blue slammed Corsa B with Ronald turbos, camber like this. Oh mate, I don't know what car was next. Jesus, I'm proper struggling here. I don't know what order anything is. I've owned too many cars. Okay, next up I think was the S3. Oh no, I've got this wrong. I've just realised that I got the Corsa B after the Mark IV Golf. And then I went from the Corsa B because I saved up enough money to buy the S14. That's the story. Then after the S14, I went to this. The S3, 2002, it was supposedly remapped when I first got it. I bought it and it was on snow tyres. It didn't handle very well because of the snow tyres. It was an averagely quick car, had a Remus exhaust. I took it to my mate to get remapped again, and it was an all different car. I remember getting normal tyres on it and it felt like it was stuck to the road. I remember doing the brakes on it and set them alight on the first night of doing the brakes. Taking it to Milton Keynes and we were racing up and down and I set fire to the brakes, pulled in. My mate's like, yo, your brakes are on fire. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Got out and they were fully on fire. As soon as I got out, we walked up the road. I was like, leave it. A police car drove past, so it's quite lucky really. But yeah, I forgot to mention a few sketchy times in the S14. I don't really want to put it on the record to be honest, but Chris Wiles and Charlie Aston though, going past a police officer at quite a fast speed, getting pulled over by said police officer and denying all knowledge because it was just a white flash on his screen. But yeah, sketchy times indeed. But yeah, the S3, I ended up doing a clutch on it. That went to Unit 18 in Milton Keynes and that turned out to be a really nice car, but I got rid of that car because I was based in Wales at the time and fuel was killing me. But it was a quick car and I did enjoy that car. I think it maybe didn't feel as quick as it was because the savageness of the S14 going to an S3 that literally pits it down and goes. But yeah, no, I really like that car. And then I got married, and from the 5 Series I got this little Cooper S. Didn't have it for long because basically we went down to one car, me and my wife, but I loved that car. It felt so quick. The supercharger wiring was amazing. Brakes were really poor. I think that was because it was a first gen Mini. They needed sorting and it had a hole in the exhaust. But apart from that, I love that car and I sold it to a good friend of mine, Lois, who's with Chris, and she's still got that car, which is really good to see that it's still going. But that was an awesome car. Now I'm going to chuck this car in here. Now technically I own this car. Actually it was a co-owned car, but that was the Stag limo. For me and my mates, bought a limo. Big shout out to all the mandem that was there and everyone that dug in. We built this car for my friend Richard Stag do, and we went on a road trip to the Nürburgring and Amsterdam. We took the limo, which was a V6 Vauxhall Amiga, round the Nürburgring and just had an all-out great time. So yeah, I'm going to stick that one in there just because technically I owned it, or part of it. But shout out to all you, man. That was my car history. I think my favourites are definitely the Classic Mini and the S14. If I was to have any one of them again, it would be the Classic Mini. Let me know in the comments below which one of these cars you would love to own, or what you would have had, or what you would have done to them. Looking back, I've had some stupid times in cars, probably a little bit reckless and stuff like that, but who hasn't been when they're younger, I suppose? Let me know your crazy stories. Maybe one day I'll do a story video on YouTube of potential things that could have happened when we were younger with cars and explain some of them, but obviously it's all fiction. But yeah, that's my car history, so please roast it. I want to see some roast in the comments. I can handle it. I'd love to know your car history as well, guys, so let me know in the comments below. If you're not following us on Instagram, then make sure you go check us out. That's at @layitdown_. If you're still locked up in quarantine, and everyone stay safe. I've done a video on 10 tips how to stay sane in quarantine. They're all car related and you can watch them here. If you're not subscribed to us already, click this ball and subscribe to us. If you want to watch some of our crazy feature videos, watch the playlist. You can click here and watch that. I hope you all have a great day. Thanks for watching our car history and stay safe.